Welcome back there.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back. As soon as the rest of me arrives, it'll be great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. It's good to be back. Good to get a chance to remember some more together. A little bit. So have you decided not to make any New Year's resolutions?
Yes.
Good. Cuts down on guilt. Makes you feel more innocent and all that kind of good stuff, you know. The section that I'm going to be talking about from A Course in Miracles is called A New Beginning. And I think that's a really appropriate section to talk about. This is a time of great transformation and change. And so I'd like to do a little quick warm-up kind of meditation thing that to kind of review a little bit of what we covered last week. So what I'd like to ask you to do is just relax, breathe, ask yourself, what do I want? Why am I here? What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? Why am I here and what do I want? What do I want to create? What do I want in my life right now? The most powerful question that you can do every day when you get up is to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want? Really want. Not what you've been told you should want. Not what you think you might need for survival. Get rid of the gottas, oughtas, shouldas. Not talking about that. What do you in your heart really want? Because this section is about the rules for decision. So, just relax. The new beginning now becomes the focus of the curriculum. The new beginning now becomes the focus of the curriculum. The new beginning now becomes the focus of the curriculum. The goal is clear. The goal is clear. But now you need specific methods for attaining the goal. You need specific methods for attaining the goal. The speed by which you reach your goal depends on one thing alone. The speed by which you reach your goal depends on one thing alone. The speed by which you reach your goal depends on one thing alone. Your willingness to practice every step. Your willingness to practice every step. How fast you reach your goal depends on your willingness to practice every step to achieving your goal. Each step you take to achieve your goal will help a little. Each step you take to achieve your goal will help a little. Every time it's attempted, each step you take will help a little. And together with these steps lead you from dreams of judgment. These steps will lead you from dreams of judgment to forgiving dreams. That means these steps will lead you out of pain and out of fear. These steps will lead you out of pain and out of fear. These steps are not new to you. These steps are not new to you. These steps are not new to you, but these steps are more ideas. These steps are more ideas. These steps are more ideas than rules of thought to you as yet. But we need to practice these steps a little while. We need to practice these steps a little while until they are the rules by which you live. We need to practice these steps until they are the rules by which you live. We need to practice these steps until they are the rules by which you live. We seek to make these steps habits. Habits are rules by which you live. So that you will have these steps ready for whatever need. You want to have these steps ready whenever you need them. You want to have these steps ready whenever you need them. Rules for decision. Decisions are continuous, decisions are continuous, decisions are continuous, decisions are continuous, decisions are continuous. That means you don't always know when you're making decisions. You don't always know when you're making decisions. You don't always know when you're making decisions. But with a little practice with the decisions you recognize, with a little practice with the decisions you recognize, a set begins to form which sees you through the rest of your decisions. It's not wise to let yourself become preoccupied with every step you take. It's not wise to let yourself become preoccupied with every step you take. It's not wise to let yourself become preoccupied with every step you take. Do you know that the proper set adopted consciously each time you wake will put you well ahead? The proper set adopted consciously each time you wake up will put you well ahead. Yet if you find resistance strong, if you find resistance strong, if you find resistance strong, if you find your resistance is strong and dedication weak, you are not ready. If you find resistance strong and dedication weak, you are not ready. If you find resistance strong to trying the new steps and dedication weak to doing the steps, you are not ready. You are not ready. You're not ready. You're not ready. Do not fight yourself. Do not fight yourself. Do not fight yourself. Do not fight yourself. If you have strong resistance and your dedication is weak, don't fight yourself. Don't fight yourself. Don't fight yourself. Don't fight yourself. But think about the kind of day you want right now in your mind. Think about the kind of day you want right now in your mind right now. Think of the kind of day you want. Think of the kind of day you want. Think of the kind of day you want. Think about the kind of day you want. Think about what you'd like to happen today. Think about what you would like to experience today. Think about the kind of day you want. And tell yourself, there's a way in which this very day can happen just like that. There's a way in which this very day can happen just like that. Just like the way you want. There's a way this day can happen just like you want it. Then try again to have the day you want. The outlook starts with this. Today I will make no decisions by myself. Today I will make no decisions by myself. Today I will make no decisions by myself. Today I will make no decisions by myself means that you are choosing not to be the judge of what to do. You're choosing not to be the judge of what to do, but it must also mean you will not judge the situations where you will be called upon to make response. Stop judging the situations that you are called upon to make response. Stop using your old judgments to judge the situations where you have been called upon to make response. For if you judge the situations where you will be called upon to make response, if you judge the situations where you will be called upon to make response, you have set the rules for how you should react to the situation. If you judge the situation, you're going to set the rules for how you should react to the situation. And then another answer that comes from Spirit, another answer that comes from the Creator, cannot but produce confusion and uncertainty and fear. That's your major problem right now, by the way. You still make up your mind and then decide to ask what you should do. You still make up your mind and then decide to ask God, Spirit, life, love, truth, what you should do. And then what you hear may not resolve the problem as you saw the problem first. And this leads to fear because the answer that you get from Spirit contradicts what you perceive. And so you feel attacked because you might get an answer or guidance different from the guidance you have made up. So you may feel afraid and you may feel attacked and therefore angry because you hear an answer that's different from the answer that you made up before you decided to ask what you should do. And then you get an answer that may be different from the answer you made up, then you feel fearful and you may feel attacked and then you get angry. There are rules by which this will not happen. There are rules by which this anger and confusion will not happen. There are rules by which this will not happen, but it does occur at first. It does occur at first. You may get angry and upset at some of the answers that you receive at first while you are learning how to hear. 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 I am learning how to hear. So throughout the day, and any time you think of it and have a quiet moment for reflection, throughout the day, and any time you think of it and have a quiet moment for reflection, tell yourself again, tell yourself the kind of day you want. Tell yourself the feelings you would have. Tell yourself the feelings you want to have. Tell yourself the kind of feelings you want to feel. Tell yourself the kind of feelings you want to have. Tell yourself the things you want to happen to you. Tell yourself the things you want to happen to you. Tell yourself the things in other words, do what you do all day. And tell yourself the things you would experience. Tell yourself the things that you would experience and say to yourself, if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. If I make no decisions by myself, This is the day that will be given me. If I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. If I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. If I make no decisions by myself. If I don't make any decisions without checking in with my greater self, without checking in with my divine self, without checking in with my God self, without checking in with spirit. I don't make any decisions without checking in. Don't make any decisions without checking in. If you make no decisions by yourself, the day that you want, which is a day of peace, by the way, will be given you. Now, you don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to accept these ideas. You don't even have to welcome these ideas. Some of these ideas you may actively resist. Some of these ideas you may find hard to believe and quite startling. You are not asked to judge and analyze the ideas at all. The youth will give the ideas a meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. The youth will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. So, has anyone in here made up their mind about how it should go and then ask the universe what to do? Any of you ever figured it all out in your mind, how you think it should happen, and then you decide to ask
I've
God
done that.
what you should do?
I've done that.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you receive an answer. That happens a lot with the Course in Miracles. And you receive an answer that's different from the answer that you made up. And then you get angry and upset and confused. And so every time you think of it during the day, you tell yourself what you like to experience, you tell yourself what you want, the kind of day you want, and then you tell yourself the kind of feelings you like to have, which is really pretty simple. What kind of day do I want? A loving, peaceful day. What kind of feelings do I want to have? Loving, peaceful feelings. What kind of things do I want to happen to me? Some loving, peaceful things. Is that pretty much true for everybody? And then the only difference between us would be how we've decided that should happen. Agreed? All of us have the same purpose. What we're divided on is the means. Right? So when we conflict at, then the conflict happens at the level of how. Everybody wants to be happy at some level. The challenge comes with we attack each other for the different ways each other have decided to go about that for ourselves. And then if we receive an answer, like for instance, if I say I want peace and happiness and I've decided that there's a certain person or situation that's going to give it to me, and then Spirit says something to me like, happiness comes from within. It doesn't come from anywhere outside of yourself. Your salvation comes from you. It doesn't come from anywhere else. Your peace comes from you. There's not a single solitary person on the face of the earth that can give you happiness.
I don't like that.
Right. So since I've decided that it should be this person or this situation or this circumstance that should make me happy, and I've already decided that I'm not going to be happy until that particular thing happens, then what do I feel? I feel afraid, I feel attacked, I feel angry, because I have made up my mind how it should occur, and now I'm asking Spirit what to do. But the truth is, I didn't ask an honest question, because an honest question is a question which you don't have a preconceived answer when you ask it. Most questions that people ask are just statements in the form of questions, just trying to restate the position that they have. Most questions that people ask are just restatements of their own perception. They're not really an honest question. Like a little kid that's 2 or 3 or 4 years old, you know, they ask you what this is. They go, what is this? And you could say it was a refrigerator. And they would say, okay, and they start calling it a refrigerator because they had no preconceived idea about what it should be. They asked you an honest question. You ask an adult, you usually get a yes but, which means they really were looking for you to reaffirm how they've already decided it should be before the question was even asked. And most adults ask dishonest questions. They usually have an idea in their mind when they ask you the question, what it should be. And so that's what's happening here. We ask, well, where does happiness come from? Well, it comes from not making any decision by yourself. It comes from knowing that decisions are continuous. It comes from asking spirit what to do first. It comes from telling yourself over and over again what you want. What you really want is peace. And when you begin to really wake up to your spiritual awareness, you know that it's about content and not form. So it's not so much the physical form that you're looking to bring you happiness. You realize it's your perception that's either going to give you peace or give you conflict. And I'm going to say this over and over and over and over and over again. You know why? Because I need to remember it. That's why. Because I'm in a world where everybody, at my request, is constantly telling me what's outside of myself that I need to have. It's called commercials. The world is one big commercial. Some people even walk up and say, you need me. I'm a living commercial. And you're going to pay for this product. There's going to be a serious pay plan coming down for this product right here. So it says, if you say, if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. He says these two procedures, telling yourself what you want, then saying, if I make no decision by myself, this is the day that will be given me. It says these two procedures, practiced, well, what? Practice, well. It says, will serve to let you be directed without fear. So how is a person directed without fear? He says, for opposition will not first arise and then become a problem in itself. So I need to ask spirit and check in. And there's a statement in the Course in Miracles that says, if you are sure that your decision is in alignment with your higher self, there will be no fear.
Say that one more
If
time.
you're absolutely certain that the answer is in alignment, you won't be afraid.
Cool.
How can you tell when the answer is in alignment? If the answer is in alignment, you cannot lose no matter how it turns out. If the answer is out of alignment, there's the idea that you could lose. If the answer is in alignment, there's no way you could. I really want to have this relationship with blah, 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 blah. It happened. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that wonderful? It didn't happen. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that wonderful? I didn't lose either way. If it's a real answer, it has nothing to do with anything I can't have right now. If it's a real answer. Anything that's not real takes time to have. Anything that's real doesn't take any time to have. Anything that's real doesn't take time to have. Anything that's not real takes time to have. It doesn't take time to have peace. It takes a change of perception, a shift of interpretation, another way of looking at things to have peace. So you could have peace anytime. But when you say, I'm going to have that peace when I get that house, now you know it's an illusion because that would take time. If I say I'm going to be happy when I have this person, I know that's not the truth because that would take time. I'll be happy when I lose 10 pounds takes time. I'll be happy when I get rid of this toothache will take time. Now if you felt some resistance come up, then it's because you had already made up your mind that the answer was something else. See what I'm talking about? It's because you heard something different from the way you made it up. But tell the truth, like the answers. If you have come up with another way that you need to manipulate something outside of yourself in order to have happiness, how is that different from anything that you've done since the day you were born? Nothing. It started when I was a kid. I remember vividly wanting my first bicycle. And I was just certain if I got that bicycle, I would be the happiest person in the world if I could get that bicycle. Yeah, I dreamed about it. I remember in school, instead of studying, paying attention to the teacher, I was thinking about what I was going to do with my bicycle. When I got it, I was 10 years old. And then I got my bicycle. I've wanted things since that. I knew if I got my bicycle, I would be happy. So I got my bicycle and promptly went out and got hit by a car. Spent the rest of Christmas Day in the hospital. How many of you have done that before? Want wanted something with all your heart, and when you got it, it was the thing that you gave yourself tremendous pain through, but you were absolutely sure. You know that phone number. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
Sure do.
So, and if you're following along in the Course in Miracles book, if you are, you'll notice that I'm just going right down the page. It looks like I'm talking a conversation, but what I'm really doing is just saying what it's saying. Because when you listen to the Course in Miracles as if it's a conversation, instead of it just this deep book you're studying, it's easier to hear. You know what I'm saying? I'm on page 26 in chapter 30, the new beginning. So then Spirit says, and guess what? There will be times when you have judged already, right? It says now the answer will what? Provoke attack, unless you quickly straighten out your mind. Straighten out your mind. So picture an ironing board. Unless you quickly straighten out your mind. And what does that mean? Want an answer that will work. To straighten out your mind is to want an answer that will work. So when will I know that my mind has been straightened out? When I finally want the truth. When I finally really want the truth. What will the truth always do 100% of the time? It will direct you inward. All the time. If it seems to direct you outward, that's just a symbolic gesture on your part to show that you're willing to have it. But the real change always comes from within the mind. I take an aspirin as a symbol of my willingness to be healed. It's not the aspirin that heals me, simply because everybody that takes an aspirin doesn't get rid of the headache. So obviously it's not the aspirin that's curing the headache. One person decided to get rid of their headache, the other person decided to have it a little bit longer. The one who decided to have the pain a little bit longer will say the aspirin didn't work. Mm-hmm. The person that's decided that they're through with it will say, I tell you, I love Bear. That's what it is, you know what I'm saying? It's a Cedrin. The Cedrin is the key to happiness. If I have, so if I had a headache and I tried 2 seconds to cure it in my mind, sit down, end of headache, you know, and the headache doesn't go, I go get in the Cedrin. I don't get into all that judgment that you shouldn't be doing that. That's not real. Well, nothing here is real. You stop picking your illusion and which one is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing you do here. What do you mean when you say it is not real? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you don't physically experience it. I'm saying it's not permanent. Mm-hmm. The Course in Miracles definition of an illusion doesn't mean that you're not experiencing it at the level you think you're on. It means that it's not permanent. And the nature of what's real is that it is eternal, it is permanent, it is always there. So a real love never changes. But the way you express it may change. The form that it comes through may change. The way you behave with each other may change. But the love doesn't change. Love doesn't change. It just expands and it grows. And if it expands and grows, and it was created to expand and grow, then it hasn't changed because it's still doing what it was created to do. So it really didn't change. That's deep, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Expansion isn't change if it was created to expand. Mm-hmm. And love was created to extend and expand. But what happens is love is coming through me, it's coming toward you. All of a sudden I forget that this love isn't coming from you and it's coming through me. And I give myself such a wonderful feeling when I'm with you that I'll trick myself into thinking that you caused the feeling that I'm having. And so now I think I got to have you to have the feeling. And so I imprison you with my desire to keep the feeling. So then I try to control everything about you so that I make sure that I never lose that feeling. And you hate me and the feeling changes. Because I've just become your jailer instead of your lover. And the problem with being a jailer is, as far as I can see, they stay in prison all day with the prisoner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 Any questions, any comments about anything I've said thus far?
Well, not that part for sure. That prisoner business.
One thing that you really heard that really you recognize that something you've done in the past is what? Anybody care to share something they heard that they know that they've done in the past?
Yes, I jailed people.
Are you a fun jailer?
I'm an asshole.
Oh, okay. You're one of those maximum security prisoners. You know something? That's a great point. The further I go on the so-called spiritual path, the more I realize that I'm the one who needs to ask for forgiveness, rather than trying to get everybody to forgive me. I mean, rather than trying me forgive everybody else, I realized that I was just like you said, I was the one who was solely selfish. I was the one who was just out for what I wanted to get. I was the one that was thinking about my own happiness more than anybody else's. I was the one trying to get everybody to act out my script. I was the one that was trying to control, you know. But you know what makes it easy for me to admit that to myself is this one simple thing. I know you all the same way. Every one of you. If you're not doing it now, you've done it before. If you're not doing it, you're going to do it before this day. Before this day is over, you're going to have something that you think you want to be a certain way that they know exactly where you want it to, and you'll feel less than bliss. Because that's what's happening whenever you feel less than bliss. Something didn't go the way you wanted it to go. So unless you know you feel bliss 100% of the time, all day long, no matter what, then you also, just like me, have a desire to control your reality and everything in it. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. As a matter of fact, admitting that is the first step to allowing it to be transcended. It's the people who never admit that they're assholes that stay assholes.
Go away.
Yeah. And that's just a word, by the way. It's just a word that we give meaning to. That's it. You could say book, no problem, ass. Oh! Book, ass. Oh! Ass, book. Oh! Big deal. It's just a word. So you see the power that we give words? And so that's what we're doing all the time. We're always giving meaning to every single thing that happens all day long. And the meanings that we give everything that's what's creating the feelings that we're having about everything. All of your feelings are coming from your meanings. All of your feelings are coming from your meanings. Your meanings. I have no more meaning to you than you give me. The first lesson in the Course in Miracles workbook is, nothing I see in this place, in the street, in this room means anything, and it freaks people out. It says, look around the room, and everything you look at, say, this doesn't mean anything. The camera doesn't mean anything. The tray doesn't mean anything. The book doesn't mean anything. And the person just be doing it, then they see their little dog. I could never say bye, though. Doesn't mean anything. They see their children, they go, oh, I could never say my child doesn't mean anything. Do you know why it's telling you to do that? It's telling you to do that because it's trying to make you aware that nothing means anything in and of itself. You're the one that's giving it the meaning. It doesn't mean anything until, I guarantee you, your child does not mean the same to somebody else as it means to you. They may just absolutely want to run when they see your child coming. They're dreading your child. You know, you're going, oh, my little baby. And they're going, oh, my God. Look, don't bring them. Please, don't bring them to my house. See, they're giving your child a different meaning. You're giving everything all the meaning that it has for you. Yes.
Earl, help me.
Sure, if I can.
This morning I was listening to you last week, or last time, and then there was lesson 9, so maybe I overdosed or something.
Yes.
It's possible.
It's possible.
But I got lost somewhere on the bicycle, because we have to have goals, and we want those goals to attain them because we're going to feel better if we get there. No?
No, that's the trick.
So,
That's the trick. The trick is to believe that if I have this thing outside of myself, then I'm going to be happy, which is not the same as saying it's not okay for you to have things that you like to experience and enjoy in the world. There's nothing wrong with you expressing yourself however you want to express yourself in innocence and joy. It's like I have lots of things that I want to do this year that I'm being told to do. See, what you're going to find out is that your real happiness is going to come from allowing yourself to be a conduit for love and allowing that which created you to function through you and to learn how to listen to the guidance of that which created you so that it can create the love and the happiness and the joy within you and in your life. That's what we ultimately get into. But in the beginning, it starts out with beginning to realize that you're not a victim. And one of the ways to get to that point is to practice the idea of coming up with things and manifesting them. So one of the stages of really getting in touch with your power is the stage of asking for things and setting goals and seeing yourself create stuff. But when you believe your happiness depends on it, that's the error. So there's nothing wrong with, for instance, if you say, I have the goal to be a doctor, Spirit would say, what for? What do you want to come out of that? Why do you want to be a doctor? What is your purpose for wanting to be a doctor? You want to go to college. What is your purpose for going to college? What is your reason for going to college? Because the purpose is the meaning. The Course teaches purpose is meaning. So if you want to know what the meaning of something is, you just have to know what your purpose is for it. The meaning of your relationship is the purpose of your relationship. So whatever you see as the purpose of your relationship is the meaning. If you set a goal, is it that you need to set a goal, or have you been taught that you need to set a goal? Have you been programmed you need to set a goal? From the time, okay, so Spirit, instead of fighting with that idea, says, okay, there's a rule to setting goals. Okay, if you're going to set a goal, then ask yourself, what do I want and what's the purpose of it? And if you're really smart, you will say, I want this goal and I want this purpose to be used to extend the good, the beautiful, and the holy, and the innocent. Whatever it is you ask for, you would ask for it to be something that benefited everything and everyone and not just yourself. A real goal is inclusive. An ego goal is just about your own personal interest to the exclusion of anybody else. So when you come up with a goal that's just for your personal happiness, that has nothing to do with bringing joy to anyone else, that's a goal you have to achieve on your own. And that's why people struggle so hard to achieve their goals, is because their goal is just for their own personal happiness, has nothing to do with the universe and everything in it as a whole. So the universe could care less about your personal interests. The universe is all about the interests of all of us. So when you come up with your own little personal dream, that's why you have to work so hard, because nothing's helping you. Because it's not about anybody else but you. But the minute you say, I want to be a doctor, and that's symbolic of my willingness to join, to heal, to be a channel for love for everyone, spirit for everyone, just say it, even if you don't know exactly how that's going to work out. Now you're in line with the universe, because now you're in alignment with the idea of everyone benefiting. Does that make sense to everybody? So it's not saying you can't want the flat screen TV. It's just saying that, number one, if you're a conscious being, you won't let your happiness be dependent on whether or not you have it, and you would ask, how could that be used for the salvation of the world? How could that be used for the happiness and peace of everyone? When I see a Broncos game, how can it benefit the whole universe? And not just the people in it. Why would you do that? What would be the benefit of doing that? Because you're learning the spiritual lesson of beginning to include all. That's why that's the only value of it, is that you're beginning to train your mind to think about something other than your personal ego. That's the value of it. That's it. Because there is no sin, there is no guilt. There's nothing wrong with manifesting anything you want to manifest. So it's not even an issue of, is this okay, is this not okay? Like you said, if you set a goal, it's okay. I mean, it's not like you set a goal, the universe is going to slam you for it. You know, how dare you actually set that goal, you know, bam! It's like, no, why are you setting the goal? Well, basically, I'm setting the goal because I would love this goal to be the means for me to wake up to who I really am and to bring love to everybody around me. It's like my life is so much more simple for me now because I know that my only function is to extend love. Not generate it, not cause it, because I don't cause it. My only function is to be it, get out of the way for it to come through me and let it do its thing. How do I do that? By doing stuff like saying, if I make no decision by myself, this is going to be given me. If my dedication is weak and my resistance is strong, I need to stop fighting myself. I need to realize I'm making decisions all the time. I need to get up in the morning and ask myself what it is I want to experience. Because most people just let things happen to them all day long simply because they have no idea what should happen all day long. And when you don't have any idea of what should happen, you're one of those people that things just happen to. So if you're one of these people that things are always happening to, it's because you don't know what you should want. And people say, well, I don't know what I want. Well, the Course has an answer to that. Say, decide for me, Holy Spirit. Decide for me, God. Decide for me, love. Decide for me, universe. You know, whatever word keeps you from freaking out. I like God. Because I learned a lot of frightening ideas around God. So I take the very thing that I used to frighten myself with, and I use that to change my mind, rather than avoiding the term. That's my own personal thing. You know, Jesus is my friend. But I had to realize that Jesus wasn't the Jesus that I learned about, because I learned some frightening perceptions of Jesus. But I've had people hear frightening, untrue things about me, and that wasn't necessarily true. So I think the same thing is true about Brother Jesus. You can say Buddha, you can say any other spiritual figure on earth, just don't say Jesus. Even among most New Age people, New Thought people. Why? Because of what we learned. because of how we were taught, you know. And so it's not necessarily true because we were taught it by people who didn't know how to love any more than we do, who was doing the best they could, who were acting according to the things they were taught by their parents.
That's for sure.
You got to realize that. When you listen to all these voices that you think are telling you what to do, they're the voices of parents and teachers and people that you've learned from who are just like you, who are exactly like you. They learned things that were not necessarily true, and they did the best they can. So it's so one level of spiritual maturity is getting to the point that you realize you have the right to make your own choices about that which you will believe, even if no one else believes it. Forget anybody else having to go into agreement with you about what you know is right in your heart. Don't put anything you hear me say today before the truth and the feeling of your own being. I'm sharing things, but don't put it before what you feel within yourself. I'm not attached to you walking away believing what I'm saying. I'm sharing it so I can remember, and if it can be helpful to you, I'm so glad.
I'm attached to your blue sweater.
Well, good. As long as you don't believe it's your salvation, you'll be okay. Because I'm not giving it to you. I'm wearing it out here. But you can look at it all you want.
Makes you look really cute, huh?
Thank you, honey. Oh, this is my communication medium. This is my, my learning device. I'm actually not this body.
I know that.
It's cute and juicy and chocolate as it is.
I know.
It's actually just my way of communicating with you for a while until I leave here.
No, don't even say that.
Yeah, well, I am. I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to be in a physical body forever.
Absolutely.
I'm with him.
Forget that.
Absolutely.
Forget that. Yeah.
So, since I've been taking this course, and I haven't been doing the lessons or anything, so just from that, which hasn't even been a very long time, I've been starting to recognize the things I'm okay and not okay with.
Mm-hmm.
And, what comes to mind is that the things I'm not okay with, am I not letting love flow through? Like, is it selfish to be all about my own self-love and peace when it causes me to have to make unloving, like walk away from somebody?
Well, actually, if your desire is to know love and to love yourself and to be loved, then sometimes the most loving thing you can possibly do, I think sometimes the cruelest person on earth is the person that stays in something that they're miserable in and make the other person miserable too. I think it's the cruelest thing in the world, especially if you've done everything you know how to do to change that and to change yourself, and you communicate it over and over, you respect it, and yet you still, at that point, you just have to accept that you want to be there, that's something that you need right now, and then give yourself the peace of that. Instead of going, I really wish I wasn't in this situation, but I just can't get out of it. Yes, you can. Because the only reason why you think you can't get out of it is because you think you have to get you out of it by yourself without God. You're leaving out the Holy Spirit. You're leaving out the divine mind. You're leaving out the higher power. And so you're trying to figure it out at the level of your ego mind. And from the level of your ego mind, you can't figure out how to get out of it. But there's no situation that you could be in that you could not experience peace in, or be helped in, or being given another way to look at it. So one of the things that happen when you begin to wake up to who you really are is you begin to see how true you're being to yourself. And you begin for the first time in your life to maybe set boundaries for yourself, realize what would be best for you, what it is you won't put up with anymore that you used to put up with. And the greatest love you can show the people around you is to take a stand and say, I'm not going to move in this direction anymore. You're totally innocent. You can continue to do it. I bless you all you want. But I've decided to do it differently right now. Now, you may have an emotional attachment to that situation because you've been in it for a long time. So make it okay to have your feelings, your grief, whatever you feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's okay too. Once you begin to accept that you are innocent, that doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes. It doesn't mean that we don't make errors. But that you are, it's like, for instance, if I go out there and roll around in the mud, okay, and I'm not the mud I rolled around in. So I can go take a shower and wash the mud off. That's what I'm saying about when we make errors and mistakes. That does not affect your essential nature as an innocent child of God. That's just a little muddy thoughts that you got all over you. And sometimes you might even have somebody take a shower with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a relationship that is really healing is. It's two people taking a shower together, rinsing themselves of fearful, guilty thoughts that they have about themselves and each other. That's a spiritual shower. So I'm on your side. I'm saying if you're reading this and it's making you want to choose for your power and not allow yourself to suffer, amen. As a matter of fact, I will go even further to say, if the more you're probably doing it right, the more that people around you are going to call you selfish. Okay? And that's one of the surefire ways that you're probably moving in the right direction, is that the people around you start saying you're being selfish. Because you're no longer willing to make the sacrifices that you used to make. And you're not willing to keep yourself unhappy like you used to keep yourself unhappy. You're not willing to allow yourself to be, and I said allow yourself to be manipulated in some way. So people who like to manipulate others and who don't respect the freedom of other people, they're the first one to call somebody selfish when they can't control them. So it takes courage to wake up. It takes courage to follow your spiritual path. And nobody promised that everybody's going to say, okay, wonderful, great, I'm so happy you're doing this. Nah. The people who need you the way to meet whatever need they thought you were meeting, the way you used to be, they're going to want you to stay that way. Because you're meeting some need, right? And there are going to be some people who are going to go with you because they're going through the same changes you're going through. There are going to be some people who are going to go find somebody else to fulfill the need that they think you met. And then there are going to be people that you're going to say, you know what, I love you, but we just need to go in a different direction right now. And you're innocent in all three cases, okay? And you're cute. So don't worry about it, all right? All of y'all cute, so if you just don't talk too much, you'll always have a date. Somebody's gonna always ask you out. Just go out and go. And they'll say you were the best conversationist they've ever done. I've had people say that to me, oh, I just love going out with you because you were just such a good listener. You know, because most people are interested in trying to be interesting instead of interested. You know, if you're conscious, you're trying to be, you're interested. You know, if you're unconscious, you're trying to be interesting. So you're talking about yourself all night. Rather than really saving yourself some time by going, what do you think? What do you believe? What is your attitude about relationships? How do you do relationships? What's your attitude about sex? What kind of goals do you have? How do you handle situations when they come up in your life where you really get upset? How are you feeling right now? How do you feel about the person you were with before me? She was a bitch! You have some baggage. So you know what? I don't want to be your baggage handler.
That's good.
Because that's what I'll be. If you haven't forgiven the person before me, then you're just going to project all that stuff on me next. Period. One of the greatest things about keeping a journal is you're shocked to see how much you do the same things over and over and over again with different people. So really, you're always in a relationship with yourself. It's so funny. It's so funny. So I'm going to cover a little bit more of this.
That's not funny.
You know, one day you'll be like really happy that you only meet yourself.
Because then you can heal it, right?
You know, well, if you know that you'll be happy because you know you only meet yourself, because you'll love yourself so much that you'll be glad to meet yourself everywhere. You know, like the trip that I just had in England was an incredible trip. It was so full of love, and I experienced love here, but I love it when I go to unknown situations and circumstances around new people I don't know. Because then I get a chance to see how much I believe what I say I believe. And I had this very interesting miracles happen. I'll give you a quick rundown. When something is not, here's my personal thing, and this is my personal thing from working with this stuff for 30 years. So it may not have nothing to do with how you handle things, okay? So my way may not be your way. We got an individual curriculum, but I live my life very simply. I ask. If it happens, it's supposed to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's supposed to not happen. And if I have a problem with that, then I got to change my mind, because everything that's happening is exactly the way it should be. If I'm with you, it's because I'm supposed to be with you. If I'm not with you, I'm not supposed to be with you. If I'm supposed to go to England, then I'll be in England. If I'm not supposed to be in England, I won't be in England, right? So months before it was time for me to even go to England, right, which happened very unexpectedly, I was routed through Toronto, Canada, as opposed to New York. A week before it was time for me to leave, Heathrow Airport was completely shut down with ice and snow. And I was wondering what was going to happen, but I knew that if it was in divine order, I would get there, because I had to make up my mind that I was going to give myself peace no matter how it turned out, because I've learned over the years that it's not about turning out the way I think it should. It's about me being clear about what I want, but also being clear about whatever happens after I tell God to decide for me, that's the decision. Okay, so right before it was time for me to leave, the weather shifted over there, and then we had this tremendous storm that shut down the airports on the East Coast. Normally, I would have been routed through the East Coast to go to London. But it just so happened I was routed through Toronto, where everybody else, was going through their lesson of wanting to be stranded for their spiritual growth. So, you see what I'm saying? Not that my situation was better, I just chose a different thing. So anyway, so I'm riding through Toronto, the weather is fine. So my plane left on time, I arrived on time, but I made one little error. I failed to get a boarding pass from Toronto to London. Last time I did it, I was checked through all the way. So I got off the plane, had an hour to get to my next plane, and to go through customs and all this stuff. And I discovered, I have no boarding pass. So I immediately do what I do now after all these years. I stop and say the last prayer in the Course in Miracles workbook, lesson 365, which is, this holy instant what I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. Because the only purpose of it is to teach me to turn to God, which is the purpose of every lesson in my life I've come to learn. So I did that, got ready to go to customs and immigration, and y'all know how it is trying to get through that stuff now. And I said to them, I don't have the boarding pass. You have to have a boarding pass and your passport to get through. I said, I don't have my boarding pass, but I need to get through. And they said, okay. Twice. They said, okay. They let me go through. Then I went to another one. I said, I got to get my boarding pass, but I don't have one right now. Because I knew who I was talking to. I was talking to myself. I was talking to the Holy Spirit. I was talking to God. And I had made it okay that if I couldn't get through, I couldn't get through, which meant I wasn't supposed to get on that plane. Right? I wasn't supposed to get on that plane. So they said twice. They went, okay. Now y'all know that doesn't happen very easy, okay? And so then I got through them. Then I still had to get my boarding pass, right? So I go to my gate, and it's right after the Christmas rush, the weekend after the Monday after Christmas weekend. So there's a line from here to there. People got bags everywhere, and I still got to get on. And I go, okay, here we go again. This whole instant what I give to you, be you in charge, for I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. And I asked some of the people working in the airport. I said, hey, is there any? Do I have to stand in this line in order to get my boarding pass? And they said, yeah, you have to stand in this line in order to get your boarding pass. And I said, I'm not going to get through on time. So I stopped and breathed, asked again, and this guy standing back, he hardly spoke English, said, there's a customer service booth right around the corner. So I get ready to go around the corner, fully expecting, with all the canceled flights, to have another long line waiting for me, because this is the customer service as opposed to just the gate, right? I walk around the corner. There is not one single person in line. Period. Nobody. When I say nobody, I mean nobody. Walked right up to the counter. In 2 minutes, they had my boarding pass, and I got on the plane. Notice, it wasn't about whether or not I got on the plane. The real lesson was, what did I tell myself about the whole situation the whole time it was happening?
Right.
It wasn't about whether or not I could have it my way. It was me not making any decisions by myself, which was checking in with the Holy Spirit every minute about what to do, and then making up my mind that I was going to be all right, even if I didn't get on the plane. And that's what I've learned over the years, is that you have a much better chance of having the things you want manifest if you make it okay for them not to, while fully being willing to have it. Where we are programmed to think, I've got this vision in my mind about what it should be like, and I get to cram everything into that vision and make it turn out the way I want it to. And that's what turns us into manipulators of others and control freaks. The ones you say, I give it up, Holy Spirit. I give my life up to God. I give my life up to a higher power. So what is the point of this book? And it's not the only path. It's just one of many. What this book did was it taught me how to tell the difference between when I was listening to my voice that I made up and the divine voice of God. Because without me knowing how to tell the difference between what's true and what's false, how can I make an informed choice? So when most people say they're turning to God, they just turn into their own minds and what they're teaching themselves, rather than saying, if it's a really loving, if I'm coming from the right place, then I would be going, this is what I'd like to happen, I'm going to give it up to Spirit. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to give myself peace. Does that mean if I had not got on the plane, that I was going to go, oh, this is really wonderful, I didn't get on the plane? No, not necessarily. I could feel disappointed if I wanted to. I could make myself feel like, wow, I wish I could have really got on the plane. Why? Because I'm not going to be condemned by the universe just because I choose to have an emotional reaction to an experience. But I just need to stay conscious that even if I'm upset, I'm the one that's making me upset. That's the lesson, is that I'm not upset because the plane didn't go right or the flight got canceled. I'm upset because of what I'm telling myself about the flight being canceled. And that's true with everything. Relationships, money, job, anything you think of right now, the lesson is not whether or not you manifest that thing the way you think you want to manifest it. The lesson is whether or not you will choose for peace in every moment, no matter what comes up in your life. But the more you set it up where it's got to turn out the way you think it's supposed to turn out, then you're going to be confused, you're going to be angry, and you're going to be fearful because you've made up your mind about how it should be, and then you ask God what to do. And when you do that, that's when you're disappointed. Because you don't trust the good of the universe. You don't trust that the universe is good. You're not trusting that it's all love. So therefore, if that does not happen, that's for your own best interest. That didn't happen. If that relationship didn't happen, that's the best thing that could ever happen to you. You know, you'll reach a point one day where a relationship ends, and if it does, and you will be in ecstasy. You will go, oh, that was such a beautiful, incredible experience. It is done. It is finished. It was good. And what's next, God? You may not be there yet. I'm not there in every situation either. But that's my goal. If you're talking about goals, that's the kind of goal you want to have. That's a more important goal than to be the president of your own company. Because you can be the president of your own company and whip your butt through it. Because you don't know how to give yourself peace in that situation. You know, because you're seeing your employees as somebody else other than your saviors, as your healers, somebody who's bringing to you the things that you need to learn about yourself. Because if you see them as you, then you have a completely different relationship with your boss tomorrow, with your coworkers tomorrow, with your family tonight. All you got to do is in your mind, without ever telling them, you see them as extensions of what you are, the one love that we all are. The truth does not require that you talk to anybody else about it in order for it to work. In most cases, it works better when you don't, because then you don't have to listen to them. And you don't have to listen to their opinions, and you have to listen to their different perception of how you should do it. That's what's been cool about putting my classes online and seeing people from all over the world respond, but also people have opinions. So they don't hesitate to tell you what they think about what it, you know. And that's great. That's wonderful. Because have I done that? Yes. I have done that too. So I can't be mad at somebody about doing something that I've done myself. But I'm now on a level of consciousness that I know that I just need to follow my heart and do what I feel is best in the moment, fully knowing that anybody who watches my class, they're the ones that's giving it all the meaning it has to them, and I have no control over their reaction. And for me to try to do my classes based on the idea that everybody's going to like what I'm saying would make it no fun. No fun whatsoever. One more quick thing that happened. There was a host of miracles that happened the last couple of weeks. I mean, just like here, being right here with you right now. It's the same. It's love. I'm just glad to know that God is international. And that when you go other places, whatever this is right there with you. But I was put on the train to go somewhere, to like Westbury, England. I must have went to about 6 or 7 different cities, different places. And again, I don't know where I'm going. I'm just trusting. And they put me on the train, That's for me, that's edgy, because I like to be in familiar environments. So, and I had never gone abroad before October last year. And so I went for the first time in October, and then I was right back in December. It's like the Holy Spirit is easing me, Then just the day before I came here, I got an invitation to go to Scotland to speak, So it's like, whatever's happening, something's going on. That's all I got to say. Something's going on. But anyway, I was on this train. And I knew I couldn't miss my stop because I wouldn't know where I was going. I'd be going off into the abyss of hell because I didn't know where. If I missed my stop, I didn't know where I was going to end up at. And that's the Spirit be in charge. So the odd thing was happening. The train would stop at its stop. People would go to push the button to get out of the train, and the door was malfunctioning, and the door wouldn't open, and the train would pull off, thinking that nobody was getting off. So there was like people being like freaking out because they were missing their stop because they couldn't get out the train. And so this young guy, I guess he was like 14 years old, he pushed the button to get off the train, and because I was like reading and studying because that's what I like to do, and he couldn't get out, and he just started crying, And so I realized immediately that he was my savior because he was making me aware that I need to get aware that I could miss my stop. So I felt nothing but gratitude and love for him, and let him know that I appreciated him and gave him an opportunity to talk about what he needed to get his stuff off. And then the conductor came And so this other guy behind me, he saw it too. And he was saying, okay, this is what we're gonna do. The next time we come to a stop, he said, I'm gonna get up, we're gonna both jump out. And I got like suitcase and everything. So we're gonna jump off. So we're gonna jump off the train, mate. All right, mate. We're gonna get off the train. He said, now if I get to the car, because we're gonna try to change cars. The first 2 cars are working fine. We're gonna try to get out, and then I'll hold the door open and make sure that you can get on. And so I'm like traumatized, you know what I'm saying? Oh my God! This isn't how I planned it. I'm angry, confused, and fearful. I had this different in my mind, you know. But I went back. Okay. This whole instant when I get to you, be you in charge, if I would follow you, certain that your direction gives me peace. Here we go. So so the next stop, the door opened that time. So we shot out of the door, he opened the door, I got in, and then I ended up in this luxury car that I was able to stay in. Didn't really study like I wanted to in style all the way to my stop where the person was waiting for me. You see what I'm saying? It's like, what was the purpose of all that? The purpose of that was to make me remember to go to God, go to truth, go to spirit, not go to my ego, me trying to faith. You see, everybody around me as my savior, my healer, they're sent by spirit to make me aware. That's why my heart went out to that young guy, because he was being, and I helped him, he was able to get things straightened out. But my point was, had I not been aware, I was made aware of what I need to be made aware of. And if I couldn't have got out the train, then at least I had my book. So I could just study and cry. You know, because all my feelings are okay, even though they don't seem very macho. But you know, I would have been okay. And so that's what I'm sharing today as we go through this section, Rules for Decision. I'm not rushing through this because it doesn't make any difference to rush, because it's such a powerful statement. It really make this year different by making it all the same. If you're saying you really want this year to be different, you're not doing anything different until you have allowed yourself to surrender to something greater than your own ego. Then you're doing something different. Just coming up with new ways for you to handle your life on your own is not different. That's just another form of doing the same thing you've done all the time. So having a new year isn't about coming up with a new thing that you're going to do the way you've already done in a new year. It's really about, how am I going to totally change my way of looking at things this year? What's the meaning I'm going to give? And that's what these books do. All these truth books we study, they save us time because they give us the new interpretations that we can use right now without figuring them out that will work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bags.
What's that?
The donation bags?
Yeah, donate.
Oh, he
Yes.
hasn't done it yet.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
just talking about it.
Thank you for sharing with me. I teach full time. I do it on a donation basis so that people can come regardless of their financial situation. So I'm trusting that if you find benefit in this, that you won't mind sharing with me and you feel like it's beneficial to you. Katie, you want to? I got an announcement. I got an announcement to be made.
I'm Katie Haley. I know a couple of you. Anyway, I take groups to international places on spiritual journeys, and my first one is coming up in January.